And I will tell you some nice anecdotes from my experience in the past 3-4 years as a CEO of a new startup. But there was another issue that concerns me a lot. As someone who's been in the academy, who's been in research for many years. I was doing academic research and studies for more than 15 years. I did a long postdoc in New York, came back 5 years ago, 2011. I was deep in academia. I will tell you a little bit more about this. I did, not only that I was in academia, I was doing basic science. I wasn't in the Technion, I was in the Weizmann Institute. Weizmann Institute back then, especially when I was studying in 15-20 years ago, was very focused on doing basic research. If you mention the name industry, or the word, the word industry, or a biotech, or biomed, I'm a biologist by the way, I didn't mention. If you mention these words, no one would people wouldn't speak with you. So everything was very academic, and this is how I grew up. This is how I was brought up as an adult. And after coming back from my postdoc, I had to face reality and face the real life outside of academia. And basically, many of the experiences I gained, I would be very happy to share with you here now. And also give you some tips about how to start your own project. And the bottom line of what I'm going to talk today is that I think that if you are being in the academia for a long time and been doing research and you're a real scientist, you have the ability to be an excellent entrepreneur. That's the bottom line. You have many skills that will make you an excellent entrepreneur. You are lacking many skills that will make it difficult for you to be an entrepreneur, but because you are in academia for such a long time and you have all these skills, you can learn really fast and really rapidly and become a very good businessman. So I would like to start actually at the end. The end is the company that I'm now heading. The company is called Nurami Medical. I'll tell you a little bit about the company just for you to have a background about what I'm actually doing now. The company was established exactly 3 years ago in an incubator in Nazareth, a Jewish Arab incubator, which is supported by the chief scientist. The company has already, obviously it's a biomed company, we develop medical device. Specifically we develop a patch or a kind of a bandage for neurosurgeries. I'll tell you a little bit more about this in a second. The company, you have to excuse me, I had a cold and a flu at the same time for the past week, so my voice is a bit weak.
Maybe you will use microphone.
It's not a mic, it doesn't work.
Oh.
So it's just for the so the company was established exactly 3 years ago. I'm the founder of the company, and Miss Nurami here is the co-founder. We co-founded the company together 3 years ago. We started working on the idea of the company 4 years ago, a year before the company was established. These are some of the people who are right now in the company. I just wanted to pay your attention for a few. There are some people who are dealing with the business, but Professor Eyal Zussman, maybe some of you may know him, he's here from the Technion. Nora was doing a master's degree in Professor Zussman's lab. I was working in Professor Zussman's lab as a researcher for a while, for 1 year. And this is how I know the technology. And these are the doctors or the surgeons that are part of our team. I'm showing them and mentioning them because these are basically the representative of our clients. These are the people whom we're going to sell our product. So what the company does. I want to start by giving you a large view of where the company is heading to and what our technology is meant to solve. So you can see a different kind of tissues, and what's common to all of these tissues is that they are soft tissues. All of them are soft, they're not bone, not hair. And all of these tissues, when they are damaged, the surgeon at the end of the surgery has to do three things. The first thing he has to do is to seal the damage or the wound. And in the case of the lung, there's also leakage of air, not only of fluids and blood. The second thing that the surgeon has to do at the end of the surgery is to make this organ or this soft tissue regenerate. You want to have a regeneration, and therefore you need some kind of a bandage that would allow regeneration, maybe accelerate regeneration, and eventually will go away and dissolve or degrade, biodegrade. And the last element in this soft tissue repair market is the issue of flexibility. If you notice, all of these tissues are not straight. Won't help me. All of these tissues are not straight. They are round. Some of them are moving. Again, the lung is a great example, a constantly moving organ. So all of the bandages, you can see an example of a bandage. All of these bandages has to be extremely flexible and move together with. Now these three elements: sealing, regeneration, and flexibility. There is in the market today. There is no one product that does all of these three things. There are products that do great sealing, but they don't help any regeneration. There are products that are excellent in regeneration, but they are very stiff and are not flexible. And these problems, as we speak with doctors and surgeons, we meet these problems every day. So the solution that that Nurami has introduced is what we call the Artifascia technology. Yes, and Artifascia is based on nanofibers, the nanofibers that you can see here, and we make these nanofibers by a technique called electrospinning. What's good about these fibers? In short, first of all, they allow, as you can see, most of the space you can see is actually void, emptiness, or pores, meaning that this bandage here is 80% void or air. This can allow cells to enter into these between these fibers and grow and make a new tissue. So this is the element of regeneration. Another good thing about these fibers is that they are extremely strong and flexible. You can engineer it how you want to do it, depending on the organ and the location where you have to apply it. They're extremely strong. And finally, what we did, and this is the speciality in our technology, we added a very thin, you cannot see it here, a very thin line of a sealant. And this is to allow complete sealant, 100% sealant, even of air, of this patch or this bandage. And just to show you a few examples of the advantages of this is on the, on the left side, this is a typical collagen patch. This is what surgeons are using almost in every soft tissue repair application. You can see it's extremely soft. It breaks with suture extremely fast. It's very weak. And this is our product, or at least a prototype of our product. It's extremely strong. It's very flexible. It doesn't break so quickly. Again, I want to emphasize that what you see is 80% air or void. Most of what you see is those fibers and emptiness. And just a few words about the technique. In order to make these fibers, we use a technique called electrospinning. This is how it looks on a slow motion camera. I won't go into the details. Basically, it's basically a new technique that has been very deep in the academia in the past 10 years, and only now in the past 5, maybe 7 years, is going into the industry. Yes?
How do you avoid repulsion of the material by the body?
Well, the problem is not the fibers, the problem is what materials are you using. So we use highly biocompatible materials that are also biodegradable and that the body likes, and there's no problem with this. I won't go into these small details, you can ask me later. So basically, right now we are, that's our technology, and as I said, the first application that we went into is a neurosurgery, and I'll tell you later why we went into neurosurgery. Basically, when a neurosurgeon ends a surgery, there's obviously a hole here above the brain, and it needs to be closed, especially to avoid pathogen and bacteria going into the brain. And what the surgeon does, he applies a kind of bandage, which is called a dural substitute, and this is our first device of Nurami. This is not a huge market. The neurosurgical market, it's less than 1 billion, but it's a growing market. And in China, the growth is more than 15% per year. So I think I should skip this. These are some examples of experiments that we did. I'm not going to go into details, experiments in animals. So now I'm going to the more interesting and more personal story. So how this whole thing started. So I'll tell you a little bit, I'll start by telling you a little bit about myself. I studied biology in Tel Aviv University. Then I became extremely interested in brain research, learning and memory. I went to the Weizmann Institute and did a master's degree and a PhD in learning and memory. I combined biochemistry, electrophysiology, pharmacology, behavior, whatever you can imagine in my research. After the PhD, I went to New York and I did a postdoc for several years in the same subject. I was thinking that I'll come back to Israel and start my own lab and stay in academia. As my postdoc continued, I was thinking, maybe this is not what I want to do, write grants all the day for the rest of my life. And I was a little bit naive, and I thought, okay, so I have this great CV, academic CV, I did great things. I have my PhD from the Weizmann Institute. It's everyone is very impressed by this. I'll go back, I'll bring my CV to Teva, the pharma company, or to another pharma or medical device company here in Israel, and I'll start working right away. So I came back from New York and I was unemployed for 6 months or something like this. And even then, the job that I was offered here and there were really, I didn't know what to do with this. This is not really what I wanted to do. It was really tough. And luckily, I was approached by Professor Zussman here from the Technion, who was looking for a biomedical expert in animal experiments. This is something that I had a lot of experience. And I decided to join a project he did with the industry. So he was working on developing, again, a kind of a bandage for something else, for bleeding. And he was looking for a biologist to help him to run this project. So I started working here at the Technion. I was working, as you remember, with my partner, the co-founder of the company, Nora. Nora was just finishing her master's degree with Eyal Zussman, and we started working on this project. As we were working on this project, I had to talk with many doctors and many physicians and ask them if they have problems with bleeding, because we were developing a patch for bleeding. So one day I was talking with a neurosurgeon and I asked him, do you have a problem of bleeding? He said, no, I don't have a problem of bleeding. I have a problem of closing the brain after surgeries, and I have problems of infections and all kind of other problems, but not bleeding. So at that time we were focusing on bleeding. So I told him, okay, it's not relevant, bye-bye, and maybe we'll meet another time. A year later, the project ended. I'll tell you later why also. The project ended, and I approached Nora and told her, Nora, do you remember this neurosurgeon we spoke to a year ago, and he told us that he was not relevant to us? Let's go and speak to him again, because he told us that he has a problem. And we called him again. He said, yes, it is a problem. I don't have time, but speak with another surgeon at Tel Shomer or another hospital. And this is how Nurami started.